Let's bow our head and feel the presence of God. Dear Lord, Father of all, we thank you for the wonderful day that you gave to us. We thank you for the blessing, love, and protection that you provided for us. We ask you that you would bless us here in the online class. Help us to focus our heart and minds now on what we are about to learn. Inspire us by your Holy Spirit and give us courage, determination, and perseverance to overcome any challenges may come. Bless our teachers and students in the class with wisdom to learn from each other. Guide us by your internal light as we discover more about the world around us. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Nika Silstissimo, and we are the Group 3. Now, let us proceed to our first reporter, Mr. Rexan Nolasco.
Good day or good evening, everyone. My name is Rexan Nolasco. I hope you're doing good today. So, William Faulkner was the one of first called Mark Twain, the father of American literature. In his own time, whatever newspaper considered Longhorn Clemens a philosopher, they considered him intellectual wit, pretentious of adventurer, and genius and sharp writer. And Mark Twain was capable of putting forth unforgettable characters such as Tom Sawyer and his best friend with Huckleberry Finn. So, Longhorn Clemens was born in November 30, 1835, Florida, Missouri, USA. Died in April 21, 1910, Reading of Connecticut, America. Humorous, journalist, literature, and novelist who acquired the international fame for his travel narratives, especially The Innocents Abroad, 1869, Routing It, in 1872, and The Life on the Mississippi in 1883, and for his adventurous story at boyhood, and especially the adventure for Tom Sawyer, 1876, and the adventure of Huckleberry Finn is 1885.
Good day everyone, I'm Christina Aldas and I'm here to talk about some information about the Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Uncle Tom's Cabin, or Life Among Lowly, is an anti-slavery novel. It was published in 2 volumes in 1852. The novel had a profound effect, especially on African American in slavery in the U.S. This novel is said to have helped lay the groundwork for the Civil War. And also, Uncle Tom's Cabin novel achieved wide popularity, particularly among white readers in the North, by vividly dramatizing the experience of slavery. The plot of the book is about the slave named Uncle Tom, portrayed as good man who stick to his beliefs. While being taken by boat to a sale in New Orleans, Tom saved the life of little Eva, a sweet and forgiving little girl. Little Eva's father then buys Tom as a thank you for saving his daughter's life.
Harriet Elizabeth Beecher Stowe. She was born on June 14, 1811 and died in July 1, 1896. She was an American author and abolitionist. Harriet Beecher Stowe comes from the religious creators family. The Beecher's family was actually originated in England during 19th century, and they belong from the political family. She was an abolitionist and author who wrote over the 30 books, including the travel memoirs, novels, and short stories. Beecher Stowe works were extremely influential at the time of their publication and played an important role in major political debates of the time, especially in the anti-slavery politics. Among 30 books of Stowe, the best-known novel Stowe is Uncle Tom's Cabin. It had a nationwide influences regarding anti-slavery ideas. So this book is published in a serialized form in United States. So during 1851 to 1852, so this novel discussed the injusticeness of slavery and Uncle Tom's Cabin story. So the challenges is dominant cultural beliefs about black people physical and the emotional capabilities. Stowe rose to prominence is the anti-slavery movement, but her views on race decomplicated. Her work expresses the idea that Christian love can be a motivating force in the face of the adversity, such as slavery. This is a protest novel that sparked abolition of the slavery. The genre of Uncle Tom's Cabin is novel, serial, and fiction. The main idea of Uncle Tom's Cabin story is all about the slavery and the treatment of the human property are major themes in Uncle Tom's Cabin book. So, which Stowe constructed with a Christian morality. Stowe depicted of slavery in her novel was influenced by her Christian faith and her immersion in abolitionist literature. So this book is a serialized form. Serialization of Uncle Tom's Cabin begins in history on July 5, 1851. The first chapter of what would become the seminal novel Uncle Tom's Cabin appeared in the National Era, a Washington DC-based anti-slavery newspaper. So why is it the Uncle Tom's Cabin fictional? The realistic fiction in a genre that includes stories about events that could have happened to people or animals in a plausible setting. So these stories are reminiscent of real life, and the fictional characters in them behave similarly to the real people.
Hi everyone, my name is Angelica and I'll discuss the plot diagram. And now let's go to the exposition of this story. After getting into debt, a farmer in Kentucky named Arthur Shelby, who'd lost everything he owns, even thought he and his wife, Emily Shelby, get along well with their slaves. Shelby decides to sell 2 of them to a slave trader, Mr. Haley, in order to make money. And the rising action, when Eva falls into the river, Tom jumps in to save her, and Eva's father, Augustine St. Clair, is so grateful that he agrees to buy Tom from Haley, and Tom takes the St. Louis. Next, the climax. Tom is killed by Legree. Tom has slowly gotten used to being hurt and abused more and more. He sometimes loses his hope and feels down, but when he faces Legree, he stays strong and because of his spiritual strength. In the following action of this story, Claire decides to set Tom free, but before he can do so, St. Clair is killed when he tries to stop a fight by getting stabbed. As he is dying, he finally finds God and goes to heaven to see his mother. The end or the resolution of this story, Eva, who was young, dies and her father starts the legal steps to set Tom free just as she had asked. He doesn't get to finish freeing Tom because he dies before he can do that. His self-centered and angry wife sells Tom to Simon Legree, a bad slave owner who beats Tom to death because he is too good.
Good day everyone, I am Diana Annakanan and I'm going to discuss the setting of the story. Setting. Kentucky is the main setting in the story. Kentucky is located at United States of America. This is where the place where the story started, and the book begins in the mid-19th century on the Shelby Plantation in Kentucky. Point of view. The story of Uncle Tom's Cabin is in third-person point of view. The story is mostly told from the third-person point of view because the narrator exists outside the events of the story and relates the actions of the characters by referring to their names or by the third-person pronouns he, she, or they. The irony of the book is the main character is sincerely pray to be reunited with his family only to be killed by the heartless master, and we can say that Tom is clearly a more moral person than Shelby. Next is the characterization of the Uncle Tom's Cabin. Tom is a brave person, strong, faithful, and a good man. He always prays to God and finds a way to keep his faith, and he saved life of his good friend named Eva. Next is Arthur Shelby. He is an educated, kind, and basically a good-hearted man but careless. Shelby is a kind of slaver owner who cares about other people without any paying attention to the color of the skin. But when the family Shelby experiences a crisis, he sells his slaves, namely Tom and Harry, a little 4-year-old, to save his plantation. Emily Shelby, a kind, loving wife who takes her responsibilities toward her slaves and their souls very seriously. Emily Shelby is a Christian woman who doesn't not believe in the slavery, and she is the one of the novel's many morally virtuous and insightful female characters. George Shelby, a kind, good-hearted son. George is really like and love Tom and Harry, and more morally committed than his father. George not only possesses a kind heart but act on his principles when George set all free the slaves on the family farm in the Kentucky. Next is George Harris. George Harris is an intelligent, talented, and innovative person because George Harris is working on Shelby bagging factory, which Harris invent a labor-saving machine for cleaning hemp. And also Harris love his family deeply and willing to fight for their freedom. Eliza Harris, a brave, intelligent, and beautiful wife of Mr. Harris. Eliza has been one of the bondage her mistress has been kind to her. Her marriage has been pleasant and she trusts God will take care of her and she obeys her master. Harry Harris, a little cute boy and Eliza and George Harris' son. Next is Eva. Eva is an incredible, beautiful, sweet, naive, and virtuous little angel. She is Saint Clair and Mary's angelic daughter. Eva also referred to the book as Little Eva. Her given name is Evangeline. Next is Mr. Haley, a gruff courseman, the slave trader who buys Uncle Tom and Harry from Mr. Shelby. And lastly, Simon Legre. He is an extremely cruel plantation owner who sees his slave as nothing more than feelingless objects to be used or abused as he pleases. He beats his slaves and rapes the woman with the assistance of his henchmen Kimbo and Sambo.
Hi, good evening everyone. My name is Nika Ilustrisimo. So now let's proceed to the literary analysis of this book. When Harriet Beecher Stowe uses the fact that slaves have families to show that slavery is wrong, so the author talks about the reader's own families to make the problem more personal and make the readers care about it. So, the problem of slavery and how people are treated as property is one of the main ideas in Uncle Tom's Cabin. Stowe balanced these ideas against the morality of Christianity. Stowe's novel about slavery was influenced by her Christian beliefs and the fact that she read a lot of books about ending slavery. So, she also drew on her personal experience during the 1830s and 40s while living in Cincinnati, Ohio, which was a destination for those escaping slavery in Kentucky and other southern states. In Uncle Tom's Cabin, she argued against slavery by listing all the bad things slaves had to go through and showing that their owners were bad people. Stowe also published a key to Uncle Tom's Cabin when 1853, and which was a collection of documents and testimonies that she used to prove that her novel's portrayal or slavery was accurate. So some people think that Uncle Tom's Cabin helped start the Civil War because it was funny and sad at the same time. So the role of Uncle Tom's Cabin as a cause of the American Civil War is rooted in a statement, typically rendered as, "So you're the little woman who wrote the book that made this great war." That is spuriously attributed to U.S. when the president is Abraham Lincoln. Then, according to the scholar Daniel R. Vulario, this comment supposedly made by Lincoln to Stowe in December 1862 originated in Stowe family tradition and did not appear in print until 1896. Albeit, as is this the little woman who made the Great War? That Lincoln almost certainly did not say these words. However, has not prevented them from being cited repeatedly as Uncle Tom's Cabin's legacy. So, another noted theme in Uncle Tom's Cabin is female virtue, with its portrayal of women in stereotypical domestic roles and with less conventional characters. So the several of the story's female characters show ethical and moral dignity, including Emily Shelby, the wife of an enslaver who has moral influence over her husband's enslaved people. So then the Mrs. Shelby's maid, a young woman named Eliza, is a bold character whose actions are motivated by fear and maternal love. So Eliza successfully escapes slavery with her son, fleeing to the north and eventually making her way to Liberia with her son and husband. Eva is the embodiment of moral purity, a young and an innocent girl. Although sometimes, regarding of women in Uncle Tom's Cabin, nonetheless drew attention to the influence of women and the importance of women's rights.